Hot Mic is brought to you by Red Wing Shoes of Fargo. Built to last. 3003 Main Avenue, Fargo.
Hot Mic with Dom Izzo.
Really? Really, Dom?
No. I like what Dom's doing.
Okay.
Dom Izzo.
Jeez, come on, Dom. What do you think I am, a magician?
Yeah, I'm fired up, Dom. What else could I say?
Absolutely. It was great to get on the field, and then Dom came up to me, and I'm trying to walk away from me. I just wanted to enjoy myself out there.
Hot Mic.
Great job.
There's got to be some kind of intelligent question about something. Izzo.
Coach Dom Izzo, WDAY in Fargo, North Dakota.
Can you give me a layup or something?
Hot Mic. Presented by Northwestern Mutual.
That program is second to none.
On the networks of WDAY.
You know, if it's not about sports, I find it very hard to concentrate.
Here's Dom Izzo.
Good Monday morning. Welcome to Hot Mic on WDAY Extra, KSFL TV in Sioux Falls, KNBN in Rapid City. Hello to everybody in South Dakota, also streaming on Inform.com. Hello, everybody. Good morning. It is the 20th day of July. We're getting close to the end of the month, and right before you know it, football season will be in even more full swing than it is right now. Sam Getzinger filling in for Dom Izzo today. Thanks for having me. Great to be back in the big chair. Dom has got the day off, so in the meantime, you got me, and there's plenty going on, especially this morning that we will get into. Hope you enjoyed your weekend. I spent it cooped up in my apartment for the last couple of days, just trying to recover from our big week last week in Las Vegas for the Mountain West Media Days. We'll have plenty more on that coming up later on this morning. We'll hear from Hawai'i head coach Timmy Chang. Dom had the opportunity to speak with him last week. We'll air that conversation today. Also, Jeff Kolpack will join us later on this morning as well. So plenty about what happened over the last week coming up later on this morning. Also coming up in about an hour and a half or so, we will hear from the newest Division I softball commit from Central Cass. Whitney Mitchell will join us. She announced the other day that she is off to the University of North Dakota to continue her softball career after her time at Central Cass is done. So we will hear from Whitney to help wrap up the show later on this morning. So a lot to get to, that's for sure. In the meantime, let's dive into it. We usually do our best of the weekend in about 20 minutes or so, but really the whole first half hour is about our best of the weekend. But before we get to that, we got to get to the bad before we get to the good. And we'll start with our worst of the weekend, if you will. And that's an update on the Minnesota Twins. They're playing their first series over the last couple of days since coming back from the All-Star break. In the weekend, didn't go great. Didn't go great in Chicago against the Cubs at Wrigley Field. They ended the first half on a high note, came back. Game one looked pretty good. It was a 5-2 win, and then the wheels kind of fell off after that. If you missed the game yesterday, here's what went down. Chicago and Minnesota. We picked things up early in the ballgame. This is the bottom of the second inning when Carson Kelly hits a single to center, and that scores Pedro Ramirez. It's a 3-0 lead already in the bottom of the second. We go to the bottom of the third now, and this is where the wheels really come off. Bases loaded, Nico Herner, a liner out to center. Luke Keyshaw misplays it. It goes all the way to the wall. It's a bases-clearing triple with the bases loaded. 6-0 lead for the Cubs at this point. And it didn't take long for Chicago to add on after that. Pedro Ramirez at the plate, Herner at third, Ramirez back up the middle with the infield playing in. 7-0 lead, and it's only the bottom of the third with Chicago leading Minnesota yesterday. Bottom of the fourth, Michael Busch, a single to left to score Pete Crow Armstrong. 8-0 lead for Chicago. Oh, can it get any worse? The answer is yes. Bottom of the fourth, Alex Bregman hits into a fielder's choice at third. Suzuki for Chicago will come in to score off of the Brooks Lee fielding error. It's 9-0 now for the Cubs in the fourth inning. Still in the fourth, Nico Herner again, who was red hot yesterday, hits a single to left. Michael Busch comes in to score there. 10-0. Cubs leading at that point. Minnesota would eventually get a run to cross in the top of the eighth, but they just got stomped on yesterday. their lone run coming off of a Royce Lewis sacrifice fly. So here is where we stand in the standings. After the first series back after the All-Star break, the Minnesota Twins now 2 games below 500 with a record of 49-51. They are 23-26 in road games this year. 4 games back of the Chicago White Sox and 3 games back of the Cleveland Guardians. We'll tell you why that's super important in just a little bit. In the wild card, it's looking all right. They're in the hunt. They have the same record as Baltimore. But Baltimore has the head-to-head as of right now. So still some work to do, but luckily still plenty of time for Minnesota. The division leaders, Tampa, Chicago, and Texas. And then in the wild card right now, New York, Cleveland, Boston. In the hunt officially is Seattle and Baltimore, with the Twins not far behind. Yesterday in the loss, Zebby Matthews got the start. 3 innings, gave up 10 runs, 8 of them earned, 4 strikeouts, and a home run. It just wasn't a good stretch. So that series over the weekend, 5-2 win for the Twins, 6-2 loss, and then a 10-1 loss. Now for Minnesota, quick turnaround. They are in Cleveland starting tonight. It is a huge series at this point, late in July, against the Cleveland Guardians, who you saw 3 games up in the AL Central standings on Minnesota. Game 1 is tonight. Joe Ryan will get the start. Tanner Bibby for Cleveland will get the go after that. Huge 3 games coming up against Cleveland for the Minnesota Twins. If they somehow get the sweep, okay, that narrows the gap. And also one thing to consider, the Chicago White Sox, who have that 4-game lead on the division, they got a tough opponent, tough series coming up starting tonight as well. They are on the road in Texas for a 3-game series. And as you saw, Texas, the Rangers, are the leaders in the AL West. So we are rooting for Texas, and we are rooting against Cleveland this week, and we'll see if the Minnesota Twins can climb their way back into the standings. It's going to be interesting. Deadline coming up pretty quick, really soon. August 3rd is the start of the trade deadline in the MLB. It's still, what are the Twins going to do? I think the next couple of weeks are very important as to where we find out, are the Twins going to be buyers finally, or are they going to be sellers again at the trade deadline? If they're still in the hunt, all right, well, then the conversation changes. If they can put together a couple of good series leading into that August 3rd deadline, then the conversation changes that they're buyers, and they definitely need help in the bullpen. If they struggle, well, then I don't think we'll have a repeat of last year, but we're going to have something interesting. That's for sure. That's an update on the Twins. We're going to have more on the Twins coming up in the second hour. We just got a ton to get to that I want to keep rolling along. Pitching staff's taking another hit throughout the rest of the season, so we'll get on that in hour number 2 if we have time. Also, yesterday, a thing that the entire world had their eyes on, the months-long soccer spectacle in the World Cup that has captivated the country and the entire globe came to an end yesterday. It was the World Cup final between Spain and Argentina, playing in the known soccer hotspot of East Rutherford, New Jersey. Now, I will admit, I did not turn this game on early. I actually went grocery shopping. This was about the point I turned it on, in the 92nd minute, because things were getting really interesting in this matchup between Spain and Argentina. A big save there, and then a massive collision afterwards, and that would send Enzo Fernandez chasing the ball, crashing into Pau Kubarsi, and if you know me, I'm going to struggle with the names. There would be a red card there. So Argentina's down a guy, and then eventually Spain would come back to score. But wait a minute, stop this celebration. A foul called. You can't step on people's feet in the game of soccer. So no goal. Then we go into extra time, and Spain in the 6th minute, Ferran Torres gets the go-ahead goal. Spain with a 1-0 lead in extra time. That was to start the second half of extra time. As you see here, Argentina was really swarming the Spain goal, but they just could not get anything to go. A good corner from Lionel Messi, and the cross is sent high. A heartbreaker for Argentina as Spain holds on to win 1-0, the final. And Spain wins their second World Cup title. Again, the game-winning goal, Ferran Torres. 39 seconds, if I'm not mistaken, to start the second half of extra time. Really impressive. And I tell you what, this World Cup, I applaud it. I give it 2 thumbs up. If you know me, you know I'm not really in tune all that greatly with the soccer world. But I'd say with the storylines, especially the storylines in the final, the Argentinian goalkeeper was phenomenal. Just playing with 9 healthy fingers yesterday. Come to find out that he broke his finger a little while back and was just muscling through it, I guess. Made 11 saves in the World Cup final to keep Argentina in it. There was no reason for Argentina to take that matchup into extra time yesterday. Spain was just all over them. 12-0 were the shots on goal. They had 4 big chances created and 3 big chances missed. That's Spain. They outpassed Argentina. Their expected goals was 2.5 to Argentina's 0.2. They had 65% of the time of possession. And the Argentina goaltender, their goalkeepers, that's the hockey coming out in me, Emiliano Martinez, somehow made all those unbelievable saves. And then as you saw in that game-winning goal, just set up perfectly by Spain. It was a beauty for Torres to find the back of the net. Messi gave a charge at the end. I was pulling for a Messi goal. And to keep this thing going, I wanted to see this thing go into penalty kicks. We did not get that far, but they had some really good chances late off of some set pieces, just could not capitalize. So with all the storylines that happen in the World Cup and all the great games, so many going into extra time, so many going into penalty kicks, USA was finally good. From I guess from what I've been told, that it was a good showing at the World Cup this year for the United States. It was exciting. And also it helped that it was on our home soil as well. I think this has turned me towards the game of soccer. I've become or football, if you will. I've become a fan now. I was excited to turn the games on. I don't know why I didn't turn it on until late. Luckily, I didn't miss anything yesterday. And it really turned out to be a great matchup. That red card is going to be something that's going to be talked about for Argentina for a while on that collision. In a matchup like that where you are just getting absolutely dominated in your defensive third, you got to play a little bit smart. And, of course, that being his second yellow card, they had to play down a man throughout the rest of the matchup, and it just did not work out well for Argentina. Now, is Messi done? I don't know. Is he? I hope not. He had a really, really good World Cup tournament. So if he is, it was fun to watch him. That's for sure. I know he's getting up there in age, but congratulations to Spain once again. I was doing a little bit of digging, just a quick Google search to see how many people were tuned in to this World Cup final yesterday in New Jersey. And from what I saw, it was projected to exceed 1.5 billion viewers worldwide on the final day of the World Cup. One of the highest in tournament history. I think the highest was about 4 years ago when it was 1.2 billion, something like that. And, of course, these games are on Fox and Telemundo. I actually started watching yesterday on Telemundo. Phenomenal, by the way. Love the Spanish broadcasts and the energy that they bring to that. That was awesome. But 1.5 billion, that is, I'd say it's almost as high as Bison Game Day. It's close, but it's still a respectable number. There's no doubt about that. Also, the third place game the other day was great as well between England and France. 6-4, the final score in that one. That's a really good matchup there. So that's what happened in the World Cup, if you missed it. Now, I had my eyes turned to golf. I'm a golf guy. Of course, this past weekend was a monster major across the pond. It was the 154th playing of the Open Championship at Royal Birkdale Golf Club. in Southport, England. And if you missed the final day yesterday, which actually happened early in the morning, it was impressive. Plenty of guys in contention down the stretch, including Cam Young, who had himself a day on Sunday. Here he is amongst the crowd on hole 9. That's his second shot from 72 yards out, and he puts it really close. He would end the front 9 5 under. That's a 29 on the front at the Open. That's impressive. Then at 17, Young, one shot back of the lead, sticks it in close. He would finish with a 6 under 64 on Sunday to solidify himself near the top of the leaderboard. Now, Ryan Fox and Sam Burns entered Sunday in the final grouping. Burns started the round at 10 under and solo first, but he found some early trouble. He was able to save par there on the 6. Fox finds himself one shot off the lead. This is on 16. Great pace, or placement, I should say, with some nice spin at there as well. Fox goes on to make the birdie to tie Young at 9 under. So Young, who's in the clubhouse already, decides, all right, I should probably start warming up. And then on the 18th hole, unbelievable 18th hole from Ryan Fox. A beautiful drive. This was his approach. He needed a birdie to get the outright win, a par to tie. Burns needed this to go up to the leaders at 9 under and potentially force a 3-way playoff. Just misses it on the short side. A good effort by Sam Burns just wasn't enough. And then Fox, from 11.5 feet out, drills it and wins the Open. His first major at 39 years old. Ryan Fox gets the job done. Finished with a 2 under round of 68 on the final day to hold off Cam Young, who was already in the clubhouse. Siwoo Kim, who was charging. Scotty Scheffler was in the mix as well. It was a really, really exciting day. Congratulations to Ryan Fox. He will take home, or has taken home, I should say, $3.2 million and also 750 FedEx points. I loved what he did on the final hole. There was a delay going into the 18th after he came off of 17th because there was a ruling question in the group ahead, near up on the fairway, or in the rough, I should say. So he had the ball teed up, ready to go, and he didn't tee off for 3 minutes. He was just sitting there looking at the ball teed up on the tee box while they were waiting for the fairway to clear. Steps up, pipes a drive right down the fairway, 320, gets by the bunkers, races up to the ball, and Siwoo Kim, who was in the group, who was in contention, was in the group ahead of them on the green, just finished out. He wasn't going to win. As he was walking off, barely off of the green, Fox decided to go for it and put it to 11.5 feet. And then right when Burns, who, as you saw, attempted that long birdie putt, right after he hit the putt, Fox is walking in to read the line, and then he takes 22 seconds. Somebody put a timer on him. It took 22 seconds to step up and hit the final putt. He's one of the fastest players in the PGA. I love fast golf. I think in an Open, in a major tournament, you should slow it down a little bit, but to build up the suspense. But he wasn't going to do that. He was playing quick. There's no doubt about that. So Fox comes in at 10 under for the win. Young finishes in second at 9 under. Burns at 8 under for third. Scotty Scheffler and Tommy Fleetwood 7 under to tie for fourth. So those were the Open leaderboard after yesterday. An exciting final. Taking a look at the FedEx Cup standings as of right now. Scotty Scheffler, of course, is at the top with 3,800 points. His top 5 finish is going to help him as well. Matt Fitzpatrick is in second with Cam Young now at 3,086 points. He's in that 3 spot. For our guy, Tom Hoagie, he is in 75th right now in the FedEx Cup standings with 473 points. Top 70. Punch your ticket into the St. Jude Championship, which is really the start of the postseason for the PGA Tour. So he's right there, right on the cusp. He really needs a couple of good weeks, and of course, all eyes turn to the 3M Open in Blaine, Minnesota right now. It's the third to last tournament of the regular season. And there are some big names in the field this week. It starts on Thursday, practice rounds beforehand. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday in Blaine. It's one of my favorite golf tournaments to attend. I try to make it there every year. This year, unfortunately, I have a wedding. I won't be able to make it, and that's unfortunate because Scotty Scheffler is in the field this year. Some really, really big names. He is making a rare appearance. I'm not 100% sure why. I'm sure he's getting a lot of sponsorship money thrown his way, but he definitely doesn't need the points. But Scotty Scheffler will be in Minnesota this week. Former Masters champion Hideki Matsuyama is going to be in the field this week as well. Gary Woodland, Tony Finau, Jake Knapp, the list goes on. The field is really impressive at the 3M as they try to build it up as one of the biggest ones on the circuit this year. Jordan Spieth, in case you're wondering, he did commit a couple of weeks ago, but over the weekend withdrew his commitment to the 3M Open. So Jordan Spieth will not be in the 3M Open this year. Going back to the actual Open that happened across the pond, the big talker from the weekend is going to be Bryson DeChambeau and what happened on Hole 5 on Friday. Jeff Kolpack will join us later on this morning. We'll get his thoughts on that. Very interesting situation there that costed him a 2-stroke penalty and ultimately a good run at the Open. All right, we are due for a break, well overdue. Let's step aside. When we come back, we'll get into our best of the weekend, a quick version of it. But a reminder for you, here's what we have coming up later on this morning. Jeff Kolpack will join us at 9:35. Timmy Chang, the head coach of Hawai'i football, will join us at 10. And Whitney Mitchell will join us at 10:35, the newest UND softball commit out of Central Cass. She will join us later on this morning when we come back on Hot Mic. We do it each and every Monday at this time. Take a look back at the best of the weekend, especially with what happened in our region. We gave you the best of the weekend internationally, if you will. So let's look back at some local stuff here. We'll start this segment with the Minnesota Lynx, who are the top team in the WNBA, and it's not even close. The Lynx were in action on Saturday against the Portland Fire. If you missed it, here's what happened. Over 12,000 in attendance at the Target Center for this game against Portland, and another impressive showing for the Minnesota Lynx. Kick things off early. Olivia Miles, the young star for the Lynx, driving in. Great dish off. Natasha Howard finishes at the basket. She had 16 points in the game. Olivia Miles, one of the brightest stars in the WNBA. Portland, they would not go away easily. Bridget Carlton hits the 3. That's one of her 6 on the day on Saturday. And then the Fire again, some good ball movement into the corner, back out Carlton. This is a pretty step back and deep 3. Cans it, 22 points for her. Courtney Williams for the Minnesota Lynx driving in, right elbow jumper, got it. And the Lynx would go on to win 101-93. Minnesota, don't look now, 20-6 on the season. They have now won 5 in a row. And someone that you did not see in those highlights, Kayla McBride, who led the way with 24 points. She has now moved into the top 20 in career scoring in the WNBA with her 24 points on Saturday. In total, five players, double figures for the Minnesota Lynx. They got the best record in the league. They're 10-4 at home, but they head off to Seattle on tonight, I should say, for their next contest. So congratulations to the Lynx. In some other big news that came down over the weekend, it involves the Spud hockey team out of Moorhead. It was announced over the weekend that the two-time defending Minnesota State hockey champions, the Moorhead Spuds, they will make a return to Hockey Day, Minnesota once again. This time, Hockey Day is in Brainerd in late January. It will be held at the Brainerd International Raceway, and they are going to take on a familiar foe, and this one should be exciting. It's a rematch of last year's exhilarating state championship game. The Minnetonka Skippers, You're seeing some of the highlights that happened last year. Moorhead was able to get the win in overtime. A crazy, crazy game. We'll see if Hockey Day can relive that or not. Friday, January 19th at 7:30 in the evening. It was a 5-4 win last time these two played, with the Spuds taking down Minnetonka in double overtime. So Moorhead back in Hockey Day, Minnesota. I know we're in the middle of summer and it's hot as all blazes, but never too early to talk about some high school hockey in the state of Minnesota. So congratulations to the Spuds. Looking forward to that game and their season coming up in a couple of months' time. All right, before we get to a break, our final thing in our best of the weekend. I said earlier that I was cooped up in my apartment all weekend. That's not exactly true. Saturday morning, I woke up to a text from my childhood best friend, who I've known since kindergarten, lives out in Wolverton, told me he was going to the Fargo Street Fair and that he was going to compete in a corn dog eating competition. And he told me the requirements were you got to eat 50 inches of corn dogs, and if you do it in under 5 minutes, you get your money back, or if you have the fastest overall time, you get $500. So I said, sign me up. I can eat 5 corn dogs, and I can eat them quickly. I was wrong. This is video proof of me on Saturday morning, or afternoon, I should say, trying to eat 5-foot-long corn dogs as fast as possible. Now, it's not confirmed, but I'm pretty sure I finished third. My buddy Riley is to the right of me. I know for sure I beat him. This is my second food competition. I won the last one. It was a work event at the Red River Valley Fair. This one did not go as well. Eating 5 corn dogs is not that great. I will tell you that. But no one else is going to give me flowers, so I'll give them to myself. So I'm putting myself in the best of the weekend. I ate the first one in a minute. That was the pace I was going for. And then it was all downhill from there. So congratulations to the Lynx, the Spuds, and myself in our best of the weekend here to start this Monday morning. I'm sure you didn't have it on your bingo card to start your morning watching me eating hot dogs, or corn dogs, I should say. But here we are. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, we're chatting about everything that happened last week at the Mountain West Media Days with our guy Jeff Kolpack. Also get his thoughts on what happened at the Open last weekend as well. That's coming up when we return to Hot Mike.
This is Hot Mike. Hot Mike. On the networks of WDAY. WDAY. Here's Dom Izzo. It's that time. An author.
Offensive production, number 1. Number 2. I forgot.
Golfer.
It'd be like going on a 3-person best shot, and we were saying, Kolpack, you got to make a 25-footer every time. You wouldn't putt first. I'd have Tim putt first.
And one heck of a TV personality.
This game is for the Cooper Cup.
It's the Forum's Jeff Kolpack.
4! I should have yelled 2.
Okay, now you can talk. Now you can talk.
I jumped the gun.
Your first day here?
I jumped the gun. Oh man, I started talking during the open.
Rookie.
I forgot you had such
rookie.
I forgot you had such a phenomenal open to your segment. How you doing, my friend?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Jeff Kolpack in studio with us on this Monday morning. Conversation brought to you by Northwestern Mutual. I'm glad I get the mistakes out on a Monday. It's been a while since I've seen you. A couple days. Give us your impressions. What do you think of Las Vegas and Media Days?
Well, okay, what did I think of Las Vegas? You know, if I had to spend 3 days somewhere, it would not be Las Vegas. It's not my scene.
It's not your deal, huh?
No. I mean, I don't gamble. It's an adult wasteland, in my opinion. But
it's an interesting town. That was my first time going there, and for sure, unlike anything that I had ever seen before. You're right.
Call me a nerd. I know.
It's an adult amusement park.
Just call me a nerd.
Well, no, I'm in your same boat too. I think the amount of time that we were there was probably right. I don't like a week there. I couldn't imagine. I'd be gone with all my money. I'd be eating food like it's no tomorrow.
Yeah.
It was an interesting place. You went to a Rat Pack.
We did
tribute show, didn't you?
It was
What'd you think
that
of
was
that?
awesome.
That wasn't worth the price of admission.
Well, Dean Martin, Sammy Davis Jr., and Frank Sinatra, the likenesses of it. It was in a small theater. Mike and I and Stacey Anderson went, and it was so good. It was, it was intimate, and it was some improv going on where they were given the business to some people in the front rows.
Oh, did you get involved?
No, because we were like in the third row, so we weren't
gotcha.
quite cool enough to be in the first row. But yeah, that was fun. But it was the Mountain West Media Days was a step above.
Yeah,
I mean, and they did everything they could to unveil their new look league, and as they should have. The commissioner is impressive. The assistants in the commissioner's office are impressive. The head coaches were impressive. The whole shebang was really first class and top notch. I mean, Vegas aside.
Yeah.
So we walked into it was at the Palms Casino Resort.
Yep.
You walk in and go, what's that smell? It's cigarette smoke.
Yeah,
oh my
you
God.
don't see that in casinos
No.
everywhere these days. Most of them have banned smoking in casinos, but that is not the case in Vegas. It was an old-fashioned smell. That's for sure.
But again, I mean, to each his own. I mean, I'd rather pull up a chair at Chubb's Pub than go to Vegas.
Right, that's fair.
Sitting down and what is a $50 minimum at Blackjack? I didn't even look. That's
actually, they had $5 minimums.
Oh, did they?
It was pretty reasonable at the Palms.
Okay.
I was scouting it out.
I would consider that.
No, yeah,
but sitting
I was
there
surprised by it too.
For $50 minimums.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to go there and not put
sitting there for 7 minutes and lose 200 is not my idea of a good time.
Yeah.
And oh, by the way, how is this place built?
Right, it's built
it's
to
just
keep you
preying on
when we walked through
failures of the human mind and
we went to
gambling.
We went to the Strip and we walked through the Bellagio, and I had heard okay, there's no clocks. They want to keep you in there. It is a maze. You don't know where the exits are. You don't know what time of the day it is. It's crazy.
But it did bring back memories of the last time I was there, and the only other time I was in Vegas was in '91 covering the Virgil Hill Thomas Hearns fight, light heavyweight title fight, which was big time. I mean, that was Virgil Hill. Look it up if you haven't seen it, youngins. Google
I will.
It. He was, many title fights. So what was he, 25 title fights, defenses or something like that? North Dakota boxer from Grand Forks, Williston. And those are the days when any athletic event in the state of North Dakota was a rare national world appearance. That Virgil Hill, and he was not shy to promote his state. Probably one of the first ones, and he's he got the Rough Rider Award a few years ago.
Yeah.
So it brought back memories of that, and all that went with Vegas. But again.
So with what happened at the media days, let's talk about that. I think one of the biggest things that I noticed, and you noticed as well right off the bat, North Dakota State, they weren't the most popular team in the room. That was UNLV. And, of course, it was held in their hometown. All their TV stations were there. Huge crowds around their players and their coach, Dan Mullen. It was a different feel for the Coach Polasek and the players that were involved.
I wrote about it. They're not the team anymore. The Bison are not the team, and they are just another team right now in the Mountain West until they, as Tim Polasek said, we need to prove ourselves. But that being said, I felt like they belonged too.
Right.
It wasn't like this outcast FCS program. Like, who are these guys? I mean, I think everybody had a pretty good idea, except for maybe some of the Vegas guys. It's like, I never really heard of them.
Right.
Okay, well,
That was one thing I noticed as well, just going around speaking to all the coaches and the players, is that, okay, they don't know anything about the state of North Dakota, but they sure know about North Dakota State and what they bring to the table, and they weren't wrong about anything. Offensive line play is good. They're going to run it very well. They got good quarterbacks yearly. So it seemed like the conference did their homework on them. I had a lot of people tell me that, okay, Boise State is gone. This is the next Boise State. Is that
I didn't hear that really.
I had a couple players tell me that.
Okay, I didn't hear that, but I'll say something about Boise State. So Jay Sauvel, the Wyoming head coach, had made something interesting, a couple comments, and I wrote about it. And he said, we come to these media days every year, and you have those guys and you have these guys. Those guys meaning those departed schools that went to the revamped Pac-12, Boise, San Diego State. So apparently there was some cliquish feelings within the Mountain West in previous years. There was those guys, and then there was us less fortunate, these guys. So I felt like what he's getting at was a little more solidarity now within the league. Now, there's a whole lot of proving. You talk about NDSU needs to prove itself. there's a whole lot of proving that needs to be done in this league.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not the Pac-12 right now. They are not those guys.
Right.
They are these guys. And UTEP coming in, I mean, 2-9, 3-8, something like the last 2 years. Northern Illinois was a losing record. Those guys have some proving to do. And so do the other Mountain West that have never really been in contention. San Jose State.
Yeah.
Needs to prove itself.
Right.
Now, Mexico rose its profile last year under Jason.
Yes,
Eck.
they did. I
Got
think
much
that's
better.
a team to watch.
They
in this
were
conference.
forever just not good. UNLV was for a long time not good. I mean, so for them to say that they are the alpha male of this league, we are the top dog, well, you need to prove it year in and year out too without Boise.
Right. I think Nevada, to add to your list,
Nevada
was a team
in a hot seat a little bit there.
They came into the media days last week, and you could feel that there was a chip on their shoulder because last year was not good for them. And I think I got the vibe that they heard a lot of noise that people weren't thinking highly of them, and they want to change that. So I would think Nevada's on that page as well.
And I don't think it's the best sign, Sam, that Nevada is overhauling its offense after 2 years under previous Jeff Schote offensive coordinators.
Yeah.
Ditching the run stuff there and going more to the run and gun. And all right.
Yeah.
You know, NDSU's had the same system since Craig Bull got here in 2003.
Right.
How many years is that? Do some new preg math.
23. Thanks, Eric. We'll combine my new preg
So
math
23 years under the West Coast offense as compared to Nevada just trying to find some identity.
Right.
I don't know if that's the best sign.
Well, I'm interested, too, with the Mountain West Conference. When you look on a week-by-week basis in this conference, a lot of people are going to that type of offense. A run and gun, they're going to throw it a lot. But then there's the outliers like Air Force that are going to run the triple option. And you got a game plan for that in the week. This is going to be really intriguing week in and week out.
I'm actually writing about that today, is the diversity of the look of this league. Because you have the Air Force offensive tackle talking about survival training and eating rattlesnakes.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Then you got Hawaii's quarterback, Micah Alahado. Okay, thank you.
I probably messed that up. We'll get it better.
Anyway,
as time
infectious personality, smile, Islander, hanging on the beach kind of guy, just a super young, nice young man. Not that the offensive tackle, but it's just the diversity of the league. And you got San Jose, who's somewhere in between, and Nevada changing to the run and gun, NDSU and its traditional West Coast. I'm not sure about a UTEP, but they're just trying to find something.
I think speaking with their head coach as well, I think they're trying to go to a similar thing. We got to play fast. Everybody wants to play fast.
You're right.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think
they want to lead the country.
Good luck to them.
All right.
Good luck. UTEP joining the league.
But the problem there is if you try to lead the country in plays and hurry up and all that.
Right.
The problem is if you go 3 and out, you've had the ball for 31 seconds.
Yeah, right, exactly. We'll see how
then
that
your defense
fares
is
on
going.
their defense. Yeah, they're going to be gassed the entire game, so you got to pick your poison on that one. Their coach was great, though. Of course, the name is blank.
Scotty Walden.
Scotty Walden from Austin P. Actually shared a good story about how he set up the matchup between North Dakota State and Austin P. Left Austin P. and now has that matchup coming back to the Dome. I was also surprised how many people knew about the Fargo Dome and really wanted to play in the Fargo Dome.
Most people knew that. Yeah. They know what they're getting into. NDSU's how many times they've been on ESPN?
Right.
In the 40s or 50s since 2010. Ryan Peralt would know that stat, but there's a brand there that's certainly recognizable.
Absolutely.
That we got.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. And it's definitely unnoticed with the rest of the country, at least from what we gathered throughout Mountain West Media Days. And we'll have a lot coming up throughout the week and throughout the season from all the content that we got last week. Again, Jeff Kolpack from the Forum joining us here in studio. Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about Bison football, also get his thoughts on the controversy in golf that happened over the weekend. So we'll get to that when we come back. Welcome back on this beautiful Monday morning. Jeff Kolpack joining us in studio. Our conversation brought to you by Northwestern Mutual. email for you,
Email.
Mr. Kolpack. Question
Where's
comes in.
the email ding ding?
Yeah, do we have that? Late
Come
notice,
on.
but there it
you
is.
go.
Fire it up.
Somebody in the control room's a little slow on the button here.
Oh, he's going to get upset you said that. It's a boxing question for you on Virgil Hill. Jeff, do you think Virgil Hill would have been more appreciated as a fighter today than back then? Also goes on to say he fought during the Mike Tyson era, and Virgil was not a knockout guy, so that made his fight seem boring in comparison. But, man, he had some fast hands.
I would say no, just because of the status of boxing. It was more popular back then.
That's fair. Yep.
He fought like Bobby Ches, which I covered. Bobby Ches was a great name, and just that was an awesome fight in Bismarck. I mean, the Thomas the Hitman Hearns. It was just at an era where there was more attention to boxing.
That's fair. I don't have a say on Virgil Hill. I hadn't seen one of his fights. I'm one of those young guns that you classified earlier. But I think now in the world of fighting, I think it's turned to the UFC as opposed to
I think
boxing.
So. It seems like the money was more back in the 90s. I mean, what did he make? $2.5 million in the loss to Hearns?
Pretty good.
So that was,
Okay, so your answer there, no.
I would say no.
Okay. I want to go back to a couple more football topics before we let you go. In part of the comments that Gloria Navarez had at the Mountain West Media Days to open things up, 4 bowl spots. League champion,
3 for sure, possibly 4.
Possibly 4. League champion, guaranteed a spot in an ESPN Bowl event. That'll be announced later. Then they also have the Hawai'i Bowl, the Arizona Bowl, and a backup spot in the Cactus Bowl. But the Mountain West has had a couple of participants in the Cactus Bowl. What do you make of that? Any shock there?
Well, I think it's pretty good.
Yeah,
I think it's pretty good. But this is just for this year only. Now they're waiting to see if the college football playoff expands from 12 to whatever they're talking about for next year. And if that does, that in theory leaves more bowl spots open for a group of 6 teams.
Yeah.
If the college football playoff expands.
Which is only good news for North Dakota State because I don't know if it's going to be year one, but maybe down the road there's potential in an expanded playoff and maybe not even in an expanded playoff that they can.
I still think they're going to do just one group of 6 spot. I do.
I think so. There's no way. There's SEC Media Days are going on right now, and I was just kind of following along with Brent McMurphy, and the SEC seems like no surprise, pretty high on themselves. I think those big conferences aren't going to keep giving up spots. You would agree with that?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, it is control everything. It's the haves and I mean,
right.
That's the way it is in the pecking order.
It's all about the money. I think those locations, I don't know exactly where they are, but when you say Hawaii, Arizona, and Cactus Bowl, I mean, that's
the
pretty
Cactus
good to me.
Bowl is in Phoenix. I don't know what stadium specifically, and Arizona Bowl. One's in Tucson, one's in Phoenix.
Okay, so the one in Phoenix
maybe the Cactus
would be
is in
at
Tucson.
the
Arizona
Diamondback Stadium.
Arizona Bowl is in Phoenix.
Yeah. Okay, so I mean, those are. I think one thing I noticed after last week, the travel is going to look a whole lot different than what we're used to.
Yeah, the players will be on the plane a little longer. So
Cactus Bowl's in Tempe. Thank you, Eric. Planes longer. The time change is what got me. I didn't realize
You're
Vegas
young.
was
Come
2 hours
on.
away.
Oh.
I don't like time changes. I don't like time
cry
zones.
me a river.
I don't like it. I don't like it. So that's going to be
you and your geography. Lack of geography awareness
is
really going to play out.
Hopefully this year I learn a little bit. That would be ideal. A couple more before
Did you
we
know
let
where you were, by the way?
Did I know we were in
Did
Vegas?
you know where Vegas?
No. I didn't know it was in the southern part of the state. Is it in the southern part of the state? I think I loosely
it's right in
heard
that corner. Yeah,
it is.
Yeah.
I didn't know we were going through Wyoming on the way home. That shocked me. So did we go up and then over?
No, we went all the way around Wyoming because we don't want to go to Wyoming. They're the rival.
Well, that's fair.
No, you went right through Cheyenne. Yeah.
Did you get an idea of who the rival would be? I asked that question a little bit.
No, Wyoming is the obvious pick to be number one, but who knows?
NIU
Who would have thought
in the conversation?
Well, something's got to happen.
Right.
I mean, who would have thought Northern Iowa to be such the fierce rival it was, at least for a while there?
Yeah. It's. I don't know. I think NIU and Wyoming could be pretty solid.
Well, just because of geography there, but
time zone too. I think that would be big
maybe
for
Vegas because I think Vegas is going to have 8,000 to 10,000 NDSU fans. Maybe Vegas is the one.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how that the fan base is going to show up and how UNLV's fan base shows up to Allegiant Stadium and what that looks like. Is it going to be like a Tennessee State deal where it feels like you're in a much bigger venue than the crowd allows for?
Yeah, I got to believe that when Nevada comes here, that the fans will have a pretty good recognition of the former Montana State coach being the head coach in Nevada, and all his comments about the cost of attendance. If you remember, Derek Tuska, after a sack, would do this, like, it's all because of the money. Right. It's all because of the money.
Yeah, exactly. That's going to be interesting. Jeff Choate, the coach of Nevada.
And he was well aware. So I asked a question. I got to Christian Watson. I got two words in the question, and he just took it from there. He knew where it was going. I don't know if he's very happy talking about it. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. All right, before we let you go, you're a golf guy. I want to get your thoughts on this. This was the big talker from the weekend. I didn't watch.
Is there videotape here?
Yeah, there is. I didn't watch a ton of the Open. From what I understand, you didn't either. But the big thing was Bryson DeChambeau on Friday, hole number 5. Finds himself into the mess off of the fairway, and the video will take it away from here. His ball is in front of him. You can see him stepping around all of the thick weeds, and then eventually takes the shot.
And then that last step where he hit those.
Ones. The rulings officials say that he was improving his backswing while stepping around in the mush over there. So he finishes his round, comes out. The rules officials tell him, hey, it's a 2-stroke penalty. He brings the rules officials back out after the round and is pleading his case. And I think this is my favorite part. What do you think? We'll get a rerun of the video here so you get another look at it.
I thought that last step was the step that cost him.
There was a couple before.
He looks like he stepped.
There was a couple before.
Okay,
so
hold on.
Right there.
No, not here.
Wait for it.
Right there. Yep.
2-stroke is that warranted? You think in that situation?
Probably.
You think that's the one? I know he was pretty fired up about that. But okay, so Jeff says 2-stroke penalty. It makes sense. I know the golf world is back and forth on what they make of that, but that last step, as you mentioned, was the one to get the job done. Are you a big Bryson guy?
He actually warmed up to me for a while, and then he kind of was a little baby there. But
as Rory McIlroy came out and said, it's
when you and I golf, we're like,
I'm taking that ball and I'm throwing it back out to the fairway. So that I have no problem with that.
I'm rolling around.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I'm taking a weed whacker out there. I have no problem with
Guerrilla
that.
golf.
But I guess
Guerrilla golf.
Since this is the Open, it's a lot different. 3M Open this week.
Awesome.
You heading down to that at all?
Too much football.
That's true. There is a lot going on.
What's going on? Yep.
Tom Hoagie's 75th in the FedEx Cup standings. He's right
there. He's got to get to 70.
So this is a big weekend for him, if I'm not mistaken, isn't it?
Yeah, it's getting there. Yep. He needs to get to the top 70 to qualify for the FedEx Cup playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And so, he's been right around 75, 76, for, I feel like 3-4 weeks.
Yeah.
Just needs to have it. And he's played pretty well.
He has. He's played well with the 3M Open as well. So we'll see if he can do that. But Scotty Scheffler in the field, Hideki Matsuyama, Tony Finau, the big names are there. So it's going to be a little bit different this week. Jeff, I appreciate it.
Samuel, good to see you.
Thanks for coming in. Thanks for bearing through my rookie mistakes. And we will see you next week.
That sounds good.
Jeff Kolpack, brought to you by Northwestern Mutual, joining us on this Monday morning. When we step aside, we're talking more about the Mountain West with head coach of the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors, Timmy Chang, will join us. He sat down with Dom last week. We'll air that conversation to start the second hour of Hot Mike coming up.
This is Hot Mike with Dom Izzo, presented by Northwestern Mutual.
Big thank you to Jeff Kolpack for joining us to help wrap up hour number 1 on this Monday morning. Sam Getzinger filling in for Dom Izzo today. Thanks for joining us on WDAY Extra, KSFL TV in Sioux Falls, KNBN in Rapid City, and also streaming on Inform.com. Now, we talked a lot about the Mountain West Media Days with Jeff in studio here, and one thing you should get ready for throughout the week here is we will re-air some of the conversations that Dom had in Las Vegas with some of the coaches and players last week. We'll kick things off here to start the week, and this Monday is a conversation that I'm excited about. Dom had the opportunity to catch up with the head coach of the Hawai'i Rainbow Warriors in Timmy Chang, who was a really fun guy to talk to. Dom sat down with him for a couple of minutes and talked everything about Hawaii football. So here's that conversation on Hot Mic.
We're here with Hawaii head coach Timmy Chang. The most anticipated game on the North Dakota State football schedule, without a doubt, is the game November the 14th against the Rainbow Warriors. We played your comments right after the news came out that North Dakota State was getting into the Mountain West, and I thought it was really interesting what you had to say. No, your football knowledge is unparalleled, but tell me your reaction when you found out that the Bison were going to be members of the league.
Man, it's exciting. You know, I think nationally, people recognize North Dakota State as a premier program, a championship pedigree program that the Mountain West now gets to inherit, enjoy a great style of football that's going to be exciting. And I think nationally, people are starting to recognize one, the program, and two, the Mountain West Conference.
Well, and three, it's really big for you guys as well, now being full members of the conference. What does that mean for Hawaii football now?
Yeah, not just for Hawaii football. I think, us finding a home with all our sports, for it to be full-fledged in the Mountain West, it's important. It's important. It's important that we get to build our traditions, we get to build our rivalries. These games mean a lot more. Yeah. And so excited. I'm excited for our university and all our athletic programs.
Tell me, as an alum, to have the kind of success you had last year, was that even more satisfying to have the kind of breakthrough year you guys had?
I think being born and raised there, being an alum there, it just hits a little different, and so. I was proud of our 2025 team and where we come, but we came a long way from 24, and you guys weren't a part of it yet, but we won 5 games, lost 7. Three of those 7 losses came by 2 points in 3 games, and so just for us, for our program, it's finding a way to start to win those games and really try to build something strong and be in the conversation for winning a Mountain West championship.
I've heard from other coaches. I talked with Craig Bull about when he came to Fargo in April about what the home field advantage is like for your team. Is there a way to describe what it is for your team when you play at home?
I think we're just very passionate. The Hawaii fan base is very passionate, one, about football, and two, there is no professional team. Very similar to North Dakota. There is no professional team, so the university and the programs, they start to take that identity of your state, of your community, and so when you come down and play over there, I think that's what you feel. Yeah. And I think vice versa, when we come down there, or other teams are going to come to Fargo, they're going to feel that passion as well.
How much of a unique recruiting strategy is it that you're the only game in town at 12 o'clock Central Time, 1 o'clock a.m. Eastern, we can turn on Hawaii football's playing? Is that a recruiting advantage for you guys?
Yeah, I don't know if it's a recruiting advantage, but it for us it's our niche.
Yeah.
It's our story. The last game in the country is an opportunity for when I played it years ago in 2000 to 2004. I didn't realize how much of a presence as I started coaching, in places like Texas and Mississippi, and I started to recruit the areas, and people knew who I was.
Yeah.
It was because it was the late night game, and it was the only game and the only show that was playing late night. So I don't know if it's much of a recruiting advantage, but it's definitely what makes Hawaii football it. If you had something to do all day and you got to get your football, your fixin', Hawaii football is going to be on.
Speaking of recruiting, you've hit this town pretty hard. Describe what the relationship is in the city of Las Vegas of getting players to come to Honolulu.
Yeah, we've had a coach named Chris Brown who's he's my associate head coach, the linebackers coach. He wears a lot of hats. He's had a lot of great success at at Bishop Gorman, and so a lot of the trust, a lot of the relationships that he's built, a lot of the things that he's instilled in that program are still there to this day.
Yeah.
And so that connection is natural. Also too, Las Vegas has taken the ninth island, community feel. Hawaiians, the Hawaii people, they love coming up here to Las Vegas and spending their time here with their families and enjoying themselves out here. And also too, a lot of the families moved out here to Las Vegas, and so it is a home away from home, and so there's a really tight connection between Las Vegas and here.
Speaking of Las Vegas, tell me about having Micah back for another season and being picked preseason player of the year. Obviously, a lot of expectations on your quarterback.
Yeah, he's done a great job. He's a unique individual that his best quality is his leadership. And we ask him to lead day in and day out, lead by example. He's held everybody accountable. And the only way he can do that is that he does it himself. And so, and having a preseason award like that just doesn't say, he can't do it alone. It's the biggest team game. So it really is an accolade for the rest of the guys as well.
How excited were you, I guess, on the schedule when you saw that you weren't going to Fargo, that they were coming your way?
Yeah, it's eventually we're gonna have to we're gonna switch off. Yeah. And so it's exciting. I think the Mountain West. I think Commissioner Gloria did an unbelievable job. The powers that be at North Dakota State, chose the Mountain West. And I just think for our conference, the Mountain West Conference, it just makes us stronger. And I look forward to watching North Dakota State play all their games, and then of course them coming to Hawaii to play.
I heard differently that each team is unique, brings its own style to the league. Is that accurate? And how would you describe Hawaii's style that bring to the Mountain West Conference in football?
Yeah, we in the Mountain West Conference, there is unique styles geographically everywhere you go. For Hawaii football, we've been a throwing, a pass-friendly type of offense. And I think that's why some of the receivers and quarterbacks, they get the accolades. but for us, on defense, it really stands with our physicality and what we like to do, and we have a lot of Polynesian athletes and guys from different parts of the country, but putting them together in the locker room, getting them to play for each other, tough brand of football, them flying around and coming downhill, that's what we bring.
One random question before I let you go: have you got a guy from Maine? Have you got a guy from what's the farthest recruit you've got to come to Hawaii since you've been coach?
Yeah, not Maine. I'll do you one better.
Okay.
We just graduated a guy that's been there for 4 years, and he was from Montreal.
Oh, Quebec. All right.
Yeah, he's from Quebec. So close neighbor, right above, right? And I thought that's been awesome. He's now at the BC Lions.
Nice.
Nick Senecal, receiver for us, and so he was an unbelievable 4-year guy, a 4-year starter for us, and been unbelievable. So we're not national recruiting, but we tend to kind of jump all over the place.
You told me before we got going here on air, you've actually been through North Dakota because you were playing up in Winnipeg, right?
Yeah,
the CFL.
yeah. Another quarterback in not the Mountain West, but in the WAC conference.
Yeah.
Another top quarterback by the name of Ryan Dinwiddie. Played at Boise State, is now the head coach of the Ottawa Redblacks.
Redblacks, yep.
We spent time together out in Winnipeg, and I ended up there north with you can imagine a guy from Hawaii not having enough warm clothes weather, so we made a drive to Fargo and had to stop at the Walmart and pick up some much needed warm clothes for that weather.
Well, now a lot of people in Fargo getting their Hawaiian shirts and shorts ready for a trip in November. It's great to see you. Thanks so much for doing this. Good luck this year, and we'll see you in November, okay?
Yeah, see you. Yeah, thank you.
Coach Timmy Chang of the Hawaii Fighting Rainbow Warriors joining us here.
Great to hear from Coach Chang. Very appreciative that he took a couple of minutes to sit down with Dom last week at the Mountain West Media Days on Radio Row. Fun guy to talk to. Saw him in passing, and then, of course, they had scrums as well, media scrums, which, if you're not familiar with that, everybody runs up to a table they're sitting at, shoves a microphone in their face. So had the opportunity to talk with him there. Really personable guy. Ran into him in the concourse of the ballroom, if you will, as well. And he was joking around with myself, Dom, Mike McFeely, and Jeff Kolpack about how everybody needs to get out to Hawaii this year to catch that game. Hawaii's definitely a team that is top of the radar when it comes to the Mountain West. They went 9-4 last season. They're 7-1 at home last year. Their home field advantage, in my mind, I think is a real advantage. I think it's going to be very difficult for teams like NIU in the future, UTEP, North Dakota State, to, especially in the first year, to figure out the travel schedule and how that works of going to Hawaii and then turning around as well. What's interesting with the Warriors' schedule this season, they start on August 29th at Stanford, and then they go into a Mountain West game in Hawaii against UNLV, non-conference game against New Mexico State after that, back into the conference schedule at Wyoming, and then home against San Jose State, non-conference game at Arizona State and Tempe, and then the rest conference games, New Mexico at home, they are at Northern Illinois, and then they are at UTEP. So that stretch in late October, early November is really interesting to me. They do have a bye week in between those, October 24th at Northern Illinois, which is by far their longest road trip. And in late October in Illinois, I can't imagine it's going to be too kind for those who are used to the weather in Hawaii. They get a break, and then they got to go to El Paso, which is still a trek. I know I'm no geography guy, but I'm pretty sure that's a ways away. And then November 14th is when North Dakota State makes their way to Hawaii. That's going to be a really interesting game. You heard him talk about it. Micah Alejado is a really, really good quarterback. He's the conference preseason offensive player of the year, was the freshman of the year last season, had 24 passing touchdowns. That set both a school and conference record for a freshman, single season record for a freshman. Not the most imposing guy in the world. Got to meet him and speak with him. He's only 5'10", 190. That's what he's listed at. But he is elusive. He is decisive. Great decision maker. Can use his legs and can use his arm. Now, last season with Micah, after the opener, had to play the entire year with fractures in his ankle, his right ankle, after suffering an injury in the first game of the season. He played through it. Guy's a dog, if you will. He is definitely going to be a player to watch. Again, he was on the preseason all-conference list. They had a wide receiver in there as well, Pafele Ashlock, Jama, I got to remember his name, Jama Otis, a linebacker, was also on the all-conference list, and Elijah Palmer, a defensive back, was on their all-conference list as well. I'm going to be really curious on how that shapes up. Going to Northern Illinois, have a break, going to UTEP, and then hosting North Dakota State. It's going to be a world of difference for the Bison traveling all the way to Hawaii, and especially for fans as well. I had the opportunity to speak with Amai Hanta back in the spring. She is on the North Dakota State softball team. I believe she's going into her junior year, if I'm not mistaken. And if I'm also not wrong, she's the only student athlete at NDSU who's from Hawaii. And I asked her, what are some travel tips you would give to Bison fans that are going to go to Hawaii for the first time? She told me, and this is good news for good information for you if you're planning to go to this game on November 14th. She said to go to Denver first. Go to Denver and then go to Hawaii. That was her big one. It breaks up the trip a little bit. So go to Denver and then go to Hawaii. She told me to also bring food, a lot of food for the plane, because you're going to get hungry. And who knows about on-flight meals these days, so bring a lot of food. That was her second bit of advice. And then she also said when you get to Hawaii, and Timmy Chang, when I spoke to him, relayed this as well, eat the food in Hawaii. That's one of the biggest things. Obviously, the beaches are cool. The scenery is awesome. The weather hopefully is great, but eat the food. It's some pretty good cuisine. So Timmy Chang and Amai Hanta, both Hawaii natives, that's their advice for those of you planning to go to Honolulu. in November. That trip's going to be exciting, that's for sure. So Hawaii, definitely a team to beat in the conference. I think if you look at the top three, it is UNLV, New Mexico, Hawaii. This is all my opinion, and I think North Dakota State is in the mix there as well. I think they can be interchangeable with Hawaii, but we just don't know. We have no idea, and we will not know until the end of August. It is going to be an interesting season. There's no doubt. As I mentioned, Dom was able to sit down with a lot of the coaches and players that were at Media Days. We will air those conversations throughout the week, so we'll have plenty more from the conversations that we got in Vegas last week coming up throughout the week here on Hot Mic. So great to hear from Timmy Chang on this Monday morning. We'll step aside when we come back. Whitney Mitchell from Central Cast will join us at the bottom of the hour, but first, got to give you another Twins update, some news there. We'll also check in with the NBA, see what's happening with all their off-season drama and LeBron James. So that is coming up when we come back on Hot Mic. Welcome back on this Monday morning. Reminder for you, Whitney Mitchell, the stud softball player from Central Cass, who recently committed to the University of North Dakota. She will join us in about 10 minutes here on this Monday morning edition of Hot Mic. Sam Getzinger filling in for Dom Izzo today. Happy to be back in the big chair. Started off the show this morning with our worst of the weekend, if you will, with the Minnesota Twins getting hammered by the Chicago Cubs. Yesterday, 10-1 in the series finale. They lost that series to Chicago, dropping 2 of 3. They were able to get a win on Friday. The bad news just kind of keeps on coming for the Minnesota Twins. And to give you an injury update, it was announced over the weekend that pitchers Mick Abel and David Festa likely out for the rest of the season. Now, if you remember the story on Mick Abel, who is a rising star in the league, in my opinion, first went on the injured list in April. It was expected he was going to be out for 2, maybe 3 weeks. Well, that's not necessarily the case. After 2 rehab outings, he underwent arthroscopic elbow surgery at the beginning of this month, beginning of July. And the other day, Twins general manager Jeremy Zoll announced that Mick Abel will undergo a checkup at the 8-week mark now, which is right around September 1st. And that's to determine if he can throw again. Well, if you're doing the math and trying to figure out where we are in the season, that essentially means even if they get him back and he's good to throw and they build him back, likely not going to make it back before the end of the season. It takes some time to come back from an injury like this. Mick on the year was not bad. Had 4 outings this season, an ERA under 4. Was really starting to throw well in his last 2 starts before the injury. So tough news there for the Minnesota Twins. Mick was a guy who won the position over Zebby Matthews, who is now pitching well in the rotation in spring training, won the spot over Zebby, and the injuries have just kind of derailed him this season. So he's likely out for the year. Also, David Festa, as I mentioned, he has been dealing with shoulder issues since spring training. He's also likely out for the rest of the year. He actually had a stem cell injection, but it just has not progressed. Festa has not really pitched in a big league game in about a full calendar year now. And if there's one thing that we know for sure, the Twins pitching staff, especially the bullpen, definitely needs some help if they want to continue to make a run late into this season. So there's some bad news there from the Twins. Some good news. Connor Prelib, who is on the IL with a blister, he may be back soon. That's according to the front office of the Minnesota Twins over the weekend. Right now, the Twins are using a 4-man rotation. They have not named a starter for tomorrow, for Tuesday's game in Cleveland. And as we told you at the beginning of the show, this series against Cleveland is massive. They are 3 games back of the Guardians. And if they can get the sweep, then they're right back in it in the division, and they're also right back in it in the wild card as well, because the White Sox have a tough opponent in their upcoming series starting today against the Texas Rangers. So I'll be very interested to see what's going to happen this week. Also, some more good news. Derek Shelton said this weekend that he is hopeful Byron Buxton will be back for this series against the Cleveland Guardians. He had a hip injury. He had to sit out the All-Star game, so he may be able to return this series. We'll hope for the best. Again, the trade deadline is August 3rd. And from everything I've seen, and I would agree with, the Twins are one of the hardest teams to predict on if they're going to be a buyer or if they are going to be a seller at the deadline. Spoke about it earlier this morning. If they catch a hot stretch here over the next couple of weeks leading into the deadline, then you can for sure bet they're going to be buyers because they're right there in it as of right now. But if they fall off, which would be not unfamiliar with Twins territory, then I would imagine they're going to be sellers. And it's no secret, definitely need some help in the bullpen, maybe some veteran guys. We will have to see. Now, also some news coming out this morning. The Twins later on in the month of August are going to play in the Field of Dreams game in Iowa. That's on August 13th at 6:30 Central Standard Time at that beautiful facility they built down there in the location that filmed the movie Field of Dreams. And I know Dom's a big jersey guy. I know many have their opinions on jerseys and uniforms, but the Phillies and the Twins did release their Field of Dreams uniforms for that matchup on August 13th. This is what the Twins are going to go with. Personally, one of my favorites, the pinstripes. This is more of a white look for the Minnesota Twins. I personally am a big fan of when they went with like the cream pinstripes. Listen to me talk like I have any idea what I'm saying. They look good. There's no doubt. It's a little bit of an old school look for the Twins. They have brought it out in more recent times, but that's what Minnesota is going to go with in the Field of Dreams game. The Phillies, on the other hand, released their jerseys for their game in Iowa, and I like these. This is old school, retro. They went with the Phillies across the chest, a P on their hat, and a darker navy hat color. They're gray. I think they look solid. I'm looking forward to this game, and hopefully at this point in August, it'll mean something in this cross-conference or cross-division matchup here with the Philadelphia Phillies. So looking forward to that. But there's a glimpse of what they're going to wear coming up on August 13th. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, we're talking about some more things that have happened on the diamond. Some big news for a star out of Central Cass. Whitney Mitchell will join us and talk about her commitment to the University of North Dakota. That's coming up when we come back.
This is Hot Mic with Dom Izzo, presented by Northwestern Mutual.
Welcome back on this Monday morning. Sam Getzinger filling in for Dom Izzo today. Happy to welcome in our next guest, a star on the softball field for Central Cass, and just recently shared some big news that she has announced her commitment to the University of North Dakota for the class of 2027. Whitney Mitchell joining us on this Monday morning. Whitney, I appreciate you taking some time. Thanks for joining us today. First of all, announced the news you're going to North Dakota a couple of days ago. How does it feel now that this decision has been made? I imagine it's a weight off your shoulders.
Yeah, honestly, it is like a huge weight off my shoulders. Being done with that recruiting process and just getting some clarity on like what my future is going to look like feels so good.
What were the determining factors on UND? Why North Dakota and Grand Forks to be your destination?
I always wanted to kind of stay close to home, so it's not like too close, it's not too far, and Grand Forks is sort of a new town to me, and their coaches and players were all super nice and welcoming as well.
You and I were talking off air. I think that hour distance away, that's kind of a sweet spot for college students because you can come home whenever you want, but you can also get some time away from the family as well, which is pretty unique. What are your family's thoughts on this after you made the call, and how much do they help you throughout the process?
Everyone is like super excited. I told all my family, everyone is like over the moon for me just because this is something I've been like talking about for a while that I've really wanted to go there. And so they know how excited I am, and so they feel the same way for me.
Describe what this recruitment process was like for you. Was it go the entire time, or once UND made the call, you knew right away, okay, this was the one? How would you describe the last couple of months?
Yeah, so I've been talking to UND for a while, just kind of like on and off. They contacted me a couple of days after you could start talking to the new class. And so since then, I've been just sending out like tons of emails and like making all sorts of posts to a bunch of different schools, keeping my options open in case like one didn't like fall through. And then so like the last few months, they came to one of my games. I didn't perform as well as I wanted to, so I was a little bit nervous. And then he contacted me again. I went on a visit, and then I was offered on that visit, and I knew right there that I wanted to go there. When they have super nice facilities, super nice players and coaches, and it just really felt like home when I went there, and I committed the next day.
Did you know they were coming to that game beforehand, or was it a surprise?
I did, and I think that I was a little bit nervous.
I was going to ask about that. I couldn't imagine what I would be like if I knew some college coaches were watching me. Describe what that feeling is like, knowing you're gonna play a game, and there's people watching to see how you do.
Yeah, it's definitely very nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
Because it seems like there's a lot on the line, and that's like where my number one school is. So I was like, oh my gosh, I got this opportunity. I can't blow it. And then it just like, it's hard to like settle in when you know that there's like something actually on the line.
Well, it all worked out in the end. Again, Whitney Mitchell joining us from Central Cass, the newest University of North Dakota softball commit for the class of 2027. I'm curious, when did you get the idea that college softball was in your future?
Well, so my dad went to NDSU for baseball, and so like softball, baseball has kind of been a big thing in my family. And I'd say when I started doing like travel softball is when I really was starting to like commit to it. I don't know if I really was thinking about college, but I knew that was something like a long-term thing in my life. So I started around like 12 years old, and I think around maybe 14 is when I started taking like the actual recruiting process seriously.
How does it feel to be a Division I? I mean, you still got another year, but knowing that you're going to be a Division I athlete out of Central Cass, which is a powerhouse of a program in Class B in the state of North Dakota, what goes through your mind when you hear that title next to your name and next to this program now?
It definitely feels very good because it's kind of like all my work's paid off, and I finally get like a title to show how much work I put into this and how that work can reward you in the end.
Describe, okay, we wrap up spring and then we go into the summer. Spring was great for you guys. Squirrels, another dominating season, go on to win the state championship, and now to this commitment. Of course, you've been playing travel ball in there as well and volleyball camps. Has this just been go, go, go for the last couple of months?
Definitely, yes, it has been. We play like almost a tournament a weekend, and we practice 2 to 3 times a week. And then I mix in a casual, like couple volleyball camps in there for the team. So this summer's been kind of busy, but that's how I like it. I like to be going all the time, and it's super fun.
I like the term there, casual volleyball camps. We'll talk about volleyball in just a little bit. We're watching some of the highlights from the championship game a little while back. 10-2 win against the rivals, Kindred Richland, program's 8th state championship and the second one in a row. What did you think of that game? And once the final out was made, what was going through your head when you guys were able to host another trophy?
Obviously, it's like a really amazing feeling securing that win at the end of a really long and like challenging season. And it just feels so good to do it with girls that like you're really close to, but also then you're realizing that there go your seniors and you're not going to play with them again. So it was like a bittersweet moment because it's so rewarding yet so sad to know that you're not going to get to play with them again.
Right. There's no doubt. A lot of them putting together really good high school careers at Central Cass. I'm curious to get your perspective on this, to be a part of a program that has had so much success over the last couple of years. Is there pressure that falls upon you guys knowing what previous teams have done and you want to continue that tradition? Or do you go into a year knowing, okay, it's a new slate, let's try to repeat it?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's like necessarily pressure because it's like the last year never will play into the new year. It's always a new slate and it's new teams and anyone can beat anyone. You can't be going in there like hockey, like I won last season, so I'm going to win this one. Because everyone's new, everyone's been getting better. So I wouldn't say it's like any sort of pressure because it's a whole new game when the next season arrives.
So you talk about a lot of new faces coming in and year out, but there's been sustained success. What's the secret? How come you guys are so good year in and year out?
Well, we have an amazing coaching staff. I would say ours is maybe a little bit bigger than others, but I think that really makes our team the way we are. It's disciplined yet fun. Scott Koss is seriously an amazing coach, and adding Pat Johnson also to our coaching staff is extremely crucial. Like they both have so much knowledge under their belt and are so good with getting us girls to like interpret it well. And I'd say that our coaching staff is really what puts us over the top.
I imagine having state-of-the-art facilities helps as well. What's it like to play at a venue like that?
It is super nice, and we're spoiled with extremely nice turf field, and it's really nice that when we do get those bad winter storms or it gets wet outside, that we have lots of home games. So it's really convenient for us.
There's no doubt. It's a really cool venue out in Castleton. If you haven't been out there to catch a game, be sure to do so this upcoming season. Whitney, your numbers this last year, I was looking at them last night, just unbelievable. At the plate, 41 hits, 52 runs batted in, 8 home runs at a batting average of .477. And then in the circle, you went 18-2 with 171 strikeouts. So the question is, when you go to college, are you going to pitch? Are you going to hit? Are you going to do both? What was the conversations like with the coaching staff at UND?
Coach Steven expressed to me that he would like me to be a utility.
Okay.
So I'll still be working on my pitching, but I'll also have a chance to earn a spot maybe somewhere else on the field and also get to try to get my bat maybe in the lineup at some point in time.
Is there one you like more than the other?
Oh, well, I really love hitting.
Yeah.
And obviously I love pitching. I've been doing it for a long time. But honestly, I have so much fun just playing the game in general that I would be happy wherever I'm at. And I'm willing to work for whatever position I fit into the team best.
That is a great answer. I can see why they recruited you so heavily. That's for sure. You're also a 3-time All-State selection in the state of North Dakota. For younger players, what goes into that in building those accolades? It's a lot more than just showing up and playing the game. So give us a little bit. What goes into becoming a 3-time All-Stater? I would say having that relentless pursuit in tough games and being able to be one of those players that is like dependable on the team is something that really plays into it. And also being like coachable and being a good team player. You don't have to be the star of every game, but making sacrifices that helps your team in the end is something that I think really earns you a spot on that When you look back at the resume that you have built throughout your high school career, and again, we just shouted out the numbers that you had last season. Does it surprise you at all to see all that you have done so far? A couple state championships, 3 all-state accolades, and all the big numbers you put together, or were those the goals you had set coming into your high school career?
So I wasn't expecting those kind of outcomes originally, but I think that having a goal and sticking to it and trying to get better each year is something that I strive to do, and I think it's been going pretty well.
Couple more for you. Whitney Mitchell again joining us from Central Cass, the newest member of the University of North Dakota softball team for the class of 2027. We got fall coming right around the corner. I know you're a part of the Central Cass volleyball team. What can we expect from Squirrels volleyball this year?
So it's lots of new faces. We lost maybe like 8 or 9 seniors.
Wow.
And like 8 playing. So that is like a lot of people on the bench, and so it'll be putting new people in new positions and playing with new people. But I think that the kind of dynamic that this new team has, or what I've seen from this last camp, is going to blend well with putting people in new positions, because I think that this group of seniors, my class is like super welcoming and encouraging, that I don't think that those girls will be too intimidated, or they'll feel like comfortable getting into like those new positions.
So I was going to say, I imagine you take it upon yourself and the rest of the seniors to grow into that leadership role if you're not in it already, and take them under your wing. Is that correct?
Yeah, I would say so. I say I wasn't normally like that in volleyball, but now being a senior, I feel more comfortable doing so.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to watching you guys. Again, appreciate your time. Last one for you. As you get ready to go to UND and get ready for your college softball career, what enticed you about playing in the Summit League? Of course, North Dakota State's right down the road from you. They're very good. UND has had some success in recent years as well, but I think overall the competition up and down the board is really good. What do you know about the Summit League, and what excites you about it?
So within the Summit League, I would say that it's super competitive. It's like anyone can beat anyone, and it's like the records are like different every single year, and it's like one will have a really good record, but they lost to this other team in the Summit League. So I think it's like super exciting to be in such a competitive league, and also getting to play like the schools that I've been watching like all throughout my childhood and like growing up is like extremely cool.
Absolutely. Well, we're excited to watch you, not just up at UND, but also this upcoming season at Central Cass. Whitney, I appreciate you for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your Monday, and good luck with the rest of your busy schedule as well.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Whitney Mitchell from Central Cass joining us on this Monday morning. The numbers speak for themselves, as we mentioned. 41 hits, 52 runs batted in, 8 home runs last season, and a .477 batting average. That is unbelievable. That's impressive. Also, 18-2 in the circle with 171 strikeouts. That's pretty good. 3-time All-State selection and multiple state championships under her belt as well. So we'll see what Whitney Mitchell and the rest of Central Cass can do, not just in the fall for volleyball, but also in the winter and in the spring coming up with softball. Great conversation with Whitney there. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, a couple of minutes left to go in the show. I mentioned an update on what's happening in the NBA offseason. We'll get to that. We'll get into our what to watch and then get out the door as we start a new week at the end of July. Last couple of minutes of the show to wrap up this Monday morning. Again, Sam Getzinger filling in for Dom Izzo. He's got some time off today. Appreciate you for joining us as we start off another week here towards the end of July. Big thank you to Whitney Mitchell from Central Cass for joining us just a couple of minutes ago. If you missed any of that conversation, you can podcast it later on YouTube and also on inform.com as well. Promised an update on what's happening in the NBA offseason. Of course, the entire NBA world is put on hold until 41-year-old LeBron James makes up his mind on where he wants to go. He is yet to make a decision on his next spot. As of right now, it is to my understanding that the teams that are in the running are the Warriors, the Heat, the 76ers, the Cavs, and potentially the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, the Warriors and the Wolves, they look like they're on the outside looking in, but still potentially a shot there. He did say the other day, LeBron James that is, that he's not going to hold up people for too much longer. I've been seeing a lot of buzz on social media that maybe it's today, maybe it's within the next 48 hours, who knows. If there's one thing that I think I can almost guarantee is that there's going to be quite the hype built up around it. I'm sure there's going to be a whole show. The decision part 2 will come out, so be sure to be on the lookout for that. What I thought was interesting was that the league commissioner, Adam Silver, the other day said that they do not have a schedule that they can release for this season. So if you've been poking around looking for an NBA schedule, you're not going to find one yet because they're waiting on LeBron. And, of course, that's going to impact what happens on Christmas, what happens on the opening week, and other big calendar dates on the schedule. So no NBA schedule yet until LeBron makes up his decision. If I was a betting man, I would say the Cavs or the Heat are the strongest thoughts. I know a lot of people are losing their minds that he said trust the process, which is a 76ers slogan. So who knows? Maybe he's going there, but I doubt it. But in the meantime, all right, let's go. Let's hurry this up. No need to drag this on anymore. Now, I do understand he's one of the greatest players of all time, and he's able to do that, but let's get a move on with the show here. Speaking of which, let's do the same. Let's get into our what to watch and then get out of the door on this Monday morning. Here's what we got coming up tonight. As we mentioned, huge series against the Cleveland Guardians for the Minnesota Twins. 5:30 first pitch on Twins TV tonight. Joe Ryan takes the mound for Minnesota. See if they can get the sweep and inch closer in the AL Central standings. The Minnesota Lynx, we showed you their highlights earlier this morning of their win against Portland on Saturday. They will take on the Seattle Storm tonight. 9 o'clock start time. You can catch that one on the USA Network. And also happening right now and throughout a good portion of the day is the SEC Media Days. You can find that on the SEC Network. Of course, the conference that essentially runs college athletics having their media days. And some interesting nuggets, I'm sure, will come out of that. And you can find that on the SEC Network. Big thank you once again to Jeff Kolpack, Timmy Chang, the head coach of Hawai'i football, and Whitney Mitchell for joining us on this Monday morning. If you missed any of it, you can podcast it a little bit later on. In the meantime, I hope you enjoyed your weekend. Hope you're ready to roll for another week ahead. Sounds like the weather may start to get a little better coming up tomorrow, so we're looking forward to that. Fun show today. We'll be back with more tomorrow, that's for sure. We'll give you an update on the Minnesota Twins. We'll give you that Lynx update as well. And in case you missed it, here's a little video of me eating corn dogs from Saturday. That's disgusting. All right, thanks for joining us this Monday. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your day.